So hello and welcome to this new section, and in this section I'm going to talk about why most people do not get ahead with their project, why they have their ideas on what they really want to live in their lives and what they really want to fulfill and still just do not succeed, just always do not unimportant stuff in their lives. And I want to start this with a story by Stephen Covey. So I'm just quoting. One day, this expert was speaking to a group of business students, and to drive home a point used an illustration I'm sure those students will never forget. After I share it with you, you'll never forget it either. As this man stood in front of the group of high-powered overachievers, he said, "Okay, time for a quiz." Then he pulled out a 1-gallon wide-mouthed mason jar and set it on the table in front of him. Then he produced about a dozen fist-sized rocks and carefully placed them one at a time into the jar. When the jar was filled to the top and no more rocks would fit inside, he asked, "Is that jar full?" Everyone in the class said yes. Then he said, "Really?" He reached under the table and pulled out a bucket of gravel. Then he dumped some gravel in and shook the jar, causing pieces of gravel to work themselves down into the spaces between the big rocks. Then he smiled and asked the group once more, "Is the jar full?" By this time, the class was on to him. "Probably not," one of them answered. "Good," he replied. And he reached under the table and brought out a bucket of sand, and he started dumping the sand in, and it went into all the spaces left between the rocks and the gravel. Once more he asked a question. What is the point of this illustration? One eager beaver raised his hand and said, "The point is, no matter how full your schedule is, if you try really hard, you can always fit some more things into it." "No," the speaker replied. "That is not the point. The truth this illustration teaches us is, if you don't put the big rocks in first, you'll never get them in at all." So, what are the big rocks in your life? A project that you want to accomplish, time with your loved ones, your faith, your education, your finances, a cause, teaching or mentoring others. Remember to put these big rocks in first, or you'll never get them in at all. So, this was the story I was quoting by Stephen Covey, and I hope it impressed you the same way as it always impresses me. I think it's just so very true. So to illustrate it once more, I also did the reverse thing. So what most people do? Most people take their jar, which is their lifetime, and they first fill it up with sand and maybe some gravel, and then they want to fit in the big stones and find that there is no more space left because there will always be sand. And so they are shoveling their way through the sand, they're shoveling and shoveling, and there's always more sand, and they think once they stop shoveling sand, then they will be able to take care of the stones, but they're still shoveling sand. Or in other terms, they have their to-do list and they're checking off their to-do list. And they think they just have to work harder or be more disciplined or work faster, and they're checking off, but somehow this magic to-do list never finds an end. As soon as as everything is checked off, there are already new things on your to-do list. Because this to-do list will never stop. So the very big mistake that many people do, the big error in thinking, is that they think that one day this list will be finished, but it will never be. Just think of what we were already talking in this course. Think of all the little things that you have to do. And these are only some examples. There are so much more, so many more things that you have to do. And there will never be all the clothing ironed and all the light bulbs exchanged and all the accounting done and stuff. There will never be a day where this is all done and nothing more is on your to-do list. And if you're waiting for the day that this will happen until you start really dedicating your lifetime to your life goals, then you can wait forever. And this is, I think, very important. But I hope you're not sad, because we are working on a solution and you will find out more about it in the next videos.